Welcome to Jar of Motivation for another motivational story about the man who cut off his own arm to survive. This is Aron Ralston's incredible journey. Make sure you subscribe for more motivational stories. Aron Ralston was always drawn to the wild. Growing up in the mountains of Colorado, he thrived on scaling cliffs, navigating winding trails, and tackling the kind of wilderness most people only read about. By his late 20s, he was an avid outdoorsman, a climber, a skier, and an explorer. But beyond all that, he was fiercely independent, a lone adventurer in search of something larger than life. In April 2003, Aron decided to take a weekend to explore the breathtaking Bluejohn Canyon in Utah's Canyonlands National Park. A strikingly beautiful but perilous landscape, Bluejohn was filled with narrow slot canyons, tricky drop-offs, and steep rock walls. Aron set off with nothing but a backpack, a few supplies, and his trusty pocket knife. Confident and excited, he didn't tell anyone his exact route. This was his escape, his solitude. April 25, 2003, dawned clear and beautiful, a perfect day for a canyon adventure. Aron was accustomed to the intense thrill of rock climbing, mountain biking, and snowboarding, and this solo outing was no different. He felt at peace in nature, where he was in control, free to explore. He carried only essential gear, a hydration pack with 3 liters of water, some snacks, his multi-tool, and a small first aid kit. In hindsight, he would later admit that he should have been more cautious, but the lure of the canyon drowned out any doubts. He began climbing down narrow crevices, weaving through the labyrinthine pathways, and basking in the silence around him. However, as he entered a deep slot canyon, he became acutely aware of the canyon walls looming high above, confining him to a narrow path beneath the shadowy rock. Around midday, Aron encountered an 800-pound boulder lodged in a narrow section of the canyon. He maneuvered around it carefully, but as he tried to climb down, the boulder shifted. In a split second, it tumbled, catching him completely off guard. As it fell, Aron felt a crushing, indescribable pain. His right hand was trapped between the unyielding rock and the canyon wall. He pulled and strained to free it, but the boulder was unmoving. The realization struck him: he was completely trapped. He tried desperately to leverage his body and gear to budge the rock, using everything he could think of to create enough space to pull his arm free. Each attempt left him exhausted and in agony. Panic surged within him, followed by frustration and disbelief. He screamed into the silent canyon, but only his echo replied. As the first day passed, Aron knew he had to conserve his limited resources. He rationed his water and food, taking only tiny sips and bites. By the second day, he was becoming acutely aware of his diminishing supplies. He shifted focus from physical strength to mental resilience, trying to keep himself calm and motivated, realizing that keeping his wits about him was essential for any chance of survival. To pass time and avoid losing himself to panic, Aron recorded video messages for his family and friends. Using his camera as an outlet, he documented every thought, every regret, and every cherished memory, hoping someone would find the footage if he didn't survive. He even carved his name, date of birth, and what he feared would be the date of his death into the canyon wall. On the 3rd and 4th days, dehydration set in, bringing with it hallucinations and confusion. Aron dreamed of water, of family dinners, of the laughter of his friends. The lack of water had left his lips cracked and swollen, his body weakened with every passing hour. He started to question his decisions, wondering if he should have told someone where he was going or if he'd ever make it back to civilization. Eventually, Aron reached a horrifying conclusion: if he wanted to survive, he would have to amputate his own arm. As the sun rose on the 5th day, Aron's physical and mental state were deteriorating. But his will to live hadn't waned. With grim determination, he devised a plan. He would break his own bones and cut through the tissue to free himself. The thought of severing his own arm was unimaginable, but Aron knew he had no other choice. He began by using his body weight to create enough force to break his bones. The pain was blinding, but he pressed on, telling himself that this agony was a ticket to life. Once his bones were broken, he took his dull pocket knife and started the amputation. The blade was not sharp enough to slice through his skin easily, and it took all his remaining strength to cut through nerves, tendons, and muscle. The pain was overwhelming, a raw fire burning through him, but Aron pushed forward, fueled by an unbreakable will to survive. After what felt like an eternity, he was finally free. Aron stumbled backward, free from the boulder that had held him captive for so long. But he knew his ordeal was far from over. He now had to find his way out of the canyon, weakened, dehydrated, and bleeding. Aron fashioned a makeshift tourniquet to slow the bleeding and began the grueling hike back. With one arm gone and his body on the brink of collapse, he scaled the 65-foot wall to escape the canyon and began his trek through the arid desert. Each step was a monumental effort, but Aron focused on the thought of survival, clinging to the possibility of seeing his family and friends again. Hours later, he encountered a family of hikers. They were horrified but acted quickly to get him help. Aron was airlifted to the hospital, where he was treated for his injuries. He survived, but his life would never be the same. The trauma he had endured had changed him deeply, yet he was grateful to be alive. The days following his rescue were filled with physical pain, surgeries, and a profound emotional journey. Aron reflected on his ordeal, wondering what had driven him to keep fighting. He became an inspirational figure, sharing his story to remind others of the strength within and the will to survive even in the darkest moments. Ralston's story has since inspired millions. His memoir, Between a Rock and a Hard Place, became a bestseller, and his tale was immortalized in the Oscar-nominated film 127 Hours. Ralston's resilience and courage became a testament to the power of human endurance and the fierce drive to live.